Hi and welcome to Excel Plus for all things Excel, tips, tricks, etc. All the fun you can have with Excel and a way of killing time until 2016 when Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice is out. Right, now this is, I believe we're now up to number 8 in this dashboard monster. This is the finished version. We're up to here, so we've got to add a macro button there and these two charts. Now these two charts are in fact exactly the same in terms of data. It's just a different way of showing the same thing. I thought I'd put both in. You can use whichever you prefer. Initially on the right I had a year-to-date trend graph, but I don't think it really showed a great deal. It just showed two quite straight lines going up and converging really, so I don't think it was that impressive. So I thought I'd just give two variants of the same graph. Alright, so let's move on and we'll put the data table in for this, which if you look changes between actual forecast, actual budget, actual prior year based on the radio button, and there's nothing of the slicer actually, of course. So that's purely a trend across the year. Right, let's get on with that. We'll need to put the data in first. We'll use the revenue tab. So go to the data sheet, insert, pivot, existing, location. Let's put it in there, and we're going to have it. Monthly. Let's get the month. And let's go and take a quick look. That's purely it. It's just month actuals. That's quite straightforward. Right, so actual prior year budget forecast. Prior year budget forecasts. Let's tidy up those hideous titles. Actual prior year. Let's do the budget. I know it's probably a little over the top, but as I always say, you'll often come back to these things some months after you've done them, and you may forget how you did it or what each table was for. So I always find the neater you keep everything and the easier it is you make it to read, the easier it is to understand your work when you come back to it after a gap. And let's give the pivot table a name. Rather than pivot table 1, we'll call it monthly revenue. Right, so there's our table. Now we need to link it to a graph. So only the month and the actuals are going to be static, but the comparative can change. Now I've tried doing this before by actually writing a macro that redraws the pivot, so we just have one pivot column in here and it redraws it, but it's a really unstable, quite unsatisfactory macro, to be honest. It really messes up. If you're on the summary tab, it'll quickly open that tab, redraw, go back. I wasn't overly impressed with it. So probably the easiest way to do it is just to use an index formula, and that works very, very well, very easily indeed. So we'll do that now. First thing, we need a named range. That's where our data is going to be. Look at that, monthly rev. It's already named, as if by magic. So let's get our months. Easy to do. Let's put a pointer in for our index formula. We'll use that in a moment. Just do 1 to 12. You'll see why soon. Here's our comparative. Now we're going to go back to our parameters tab, and okay, it all drives nicely off this. Currently it's budget. actual first. I'm getting ahead of myself. And we want B5. Again, rather, if you point at a pivot, you just get the pivot formula. So you need to type in the cell reference that you want. Copy it down. And now we'll have our comparative. Let's go into the parameters tab. Pick that one up. And use an index formula. So index, choose the array, the area, the range you're picking it from. So we had, is it market rev? Let's have a look. Monthly rev, thought so. Monthly rev. Right now, the row number, rather than having to type in 1 to 12, we've already got that there. And now the column number. Again, the column number is going to be derived from our parameters. Very nice. There it is. So there we go. It's the budget. 7589. Very easy. Copy that down, and because we've put essentially a count in column F, keeps that nice. And if we now alter, so our prior year, if we go back to revenue, flips over to prior year, and now we'll just insert the graph. So insert, let's just insert a line graph. There we are. I've saved that one as a template just to make it easy to reuse. Cut that, paste it there, and stretch it out, give it a title, monthly revenue, and there's that chart, no problem whatsoever. And there's the data we're comparing. Actual and prior in this case, just stretch that out a little. Actual against budget and actual against forecast. There's a nice dynamic chart, again controlled by these three handy radio buttons. Now let's add the button which effectively groups that slicer. Easy way to do it. We'll do it with a macro. So just select Asia, go to the bottom left, there's your record macro button. Click on that, this workbook. Shift, hold down the bottom selection in the slicer. Selects them all. Stop. There you go. You've got a macro to do that. Don't even have to write it. Click on your developer button, Visual Basic. Let's take a look at that macro. It'll be in module 1. And there you go, with the slicer region. Have everything as true, and I've already recorded that one. There it is. So I can get rid of that. That was just to demo it. We'll remove that module, we don't need it. Let's go back to the workbook and we'll insert a shape, just a simple button, put that underneath, edit text, select all. Was that what I called it? Let's go into the original. Oh yeah, select all. Right, let's go back to our demo one. Ah, you're right, the black text does look a little better. Let's make it black. Center. Beef the text up a little. That might be too large. And assign macro. And select all countries. And there we go, we'll just select Asia, and then select all. Literally just in many cases with macros, if in doubt, just record something and then have a look at the code. And of course, let's make this right. Format, shape, properties, don't move, or resize with cells. Did I do the same thing with the slicer? Let's double check. Properties, don't move. Right, we nearly at the 10-minute mark, so I'll leave it there, and we'll do the last graph. With I think that'll be the final one, the 9th tutorial. Sadly, we didn't make it into double figures, which would have been quite nice. So just one more to go. So until then, you just keep practicing with us. Enjoy all the fun. That is Excel. Who needs a social life? Who needs friends? Excel, the friend for life that just keeps on giving. So you just keep on adding up those numbers, and look out soon. I'll get the final tutorial for this dashboard sorted and online.